Musonius Rufus, teaching philosophy in exile. The sun rose over the rugged hills of Gyros, a remote island in the Aegean Sea, its light casting jagged shadows over the rocky cliffs and sparse vegetation. Musonius Rufus, the Roman Stoic philosopher, had been sent here in exile not for crime, but for truth. His teachings, unwavering and uncompromising, had angered emperors and courtiers alike. Yet far from the marble halls of Rome and the familiar bustle of the city, Musonius Rufus remained undaunted. The island was harsh. Water was scarce, the winds bitter, and the earth difficult to cultivate. Most men would have despaired, but Rufus saw opportunity. The exile that others considered punishment, he considered a classroom. He walked barefoot along the rocky paths, teaching those who were willing to listen, fellow exiles, a few curious locals, and anyone who sought wisdom over comfort. One morning, a young Roman soldier approached him, hesitant and uncertain. "Master," he said, "how can a life so hard, so filled with suffering be worth living? Why endure exile, hunger, and toil?" Rufus smiled gently, gesturing toward the rough landscape around them. "Do you see these rocks?" he asked. "They do not complain. They endure the sun and the storm. Nature does not promise ease, yet it exists in harmony. Man must learn the same. It is not external conditions that define a good life, but how we live within them." He led the young soldier to a small clearing where the wind swept freely, and they sat together. "Philosophy is not found in luxury or in idle comfort," Rufus continued. "It is practiced in adversity, to endure hardship with dignity, to act with virtue regardless of circumstance. That is true wisdom. We cannot choose what happens to us, but we can choose how we respond." Days turned into weeks. Musonius Rufus taught practical lessons: how to endure hunger without complaint, how to remain calm when anger rises, how to cultivate justice, courage, and temperance in the face of scarcity. He spoke of the fleeting nature of wealth, the futility of status, and the freedom found in mastering one's desires. His words were simple, but each one carried the weight of experience and the authority of a man who had lived them. One evening, a fellow exile came to him, grief-stricken over news of his family in Rome. "I cannot bear to be separated from them," the man said, tears in his eyes. Rufus placed a steady hand on his shoulder. "Do not let sorrow enslave your mind. You cannot control the actions of others or the whims of fate, but you can control your own thoughts and choices." Even the harshness of the island itself became a teacher. Rufus observed the waves crashing against cliffs, the gulls soaring with the wind, the sparse trees clinging stubbornly to life. Everything followed nature's course, indifferent to complaint or desire. Man must act in accordance with nature, not against it, he explained. Resistance to reality brings suffering. Acceptance brings peace. As months passed, word of Musonius Rufus' teachings spread. Visitors came from other islands, travelers seeking guidance, soldiers curious about philosophy, even officials of the empire intrigued by reports of his calm and influence. Despite exile, his impact grew. His classroom was the world around him, the rocks, the sea, the sky, and those who came carried his lessons back to Rome and beyond. When the time came for Rufus to leave exile, he walked away from the island without regret. The hardships had strengthened him, clarified his teachings, and deepened his understanding of virtue. He had proven that philosophy is not a luxury of the wealthy or the comfortable, but a practical discipline, honed in adversity, lived with courage, and shared freely. Musonius Rufus' exile became legendary, not as a story of punishment, but as a testament to the power of reason, the endurance of the human spirit, and the profound truth that life, no matter how harsh, can be a school for virtue. Even in the most difficult circumstances, a philosopher can teach, inspire, and live fully, demonstrating that freedom lies not in geography or fortune, but in the mastery of the mind and the cultivation of virtue.